Hello guys, it is Alicia from Huggable Earth. Today I have a dragon pattern that I am releasing. These are some of our pieces, okay? And you're gonna have the core pieces, which are separate, obviously. And then you have the dragon pad pattern itself. So I just wanted to show how I make a dragon pad, or any of the cloth pad patterns that I'm offering, how I make them. So first I want to start out with just a plain piece of muslin, okay? And what you're going to do with that is draw out on it the exact fluff. There's fluff. Draw out the exact outline of your dragon piece, your outer dragon piece, okay? So whichever size you're choosing, just pick one and draw right around the very outside edge here. This is going to be the sew line, okay? So you want to draw right against this. After you've printed it on your printer and cut it out, you're just going to take whatever marking tool you're using. You might use an air erase marker like this. I have this sew line one. You might use something like this Madam Sew chalk one, which is like that, and then they easily wipe away or will wash out with the first wash. Tailor's chalk, of course, is a great option. They're really cheap and they come in little triangles like this. And then there's always a Sharpie. I use a Sharpie most of the time for when I am drawing out patterns on pads. So I just buy like a box of these Sharpies. But you don't have to buy a box. You could just buy one. But they work really good because it just is going to stay forever. And this is the invisible layer. So for your cloth pad, if you don't want to see the core sewn on the outside of the pad, you can definitely do an invisible layer. That's the version I'm going to show today. Okay, so pretend I just drew this out on this one. And now I have this piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, after I draw around it, I'm just going to cut loosely. This is a loose cut around the whole edge of the dragon pad, or whatever pad you're using. I'm just going to call it the dragon pad, but this method can be used for any of the pads that the pad patterns that I'm offering in my shop now. Okay, so next, what you want to do is take your dragon print, and I just have a piece of fabric here, okay? So I'm going to flip it so that the wrong side is facing me, and this is upright. So I think I have enough. Maybe I don't have enough of this one. I don't think I have enough of this one, actually, because that's the wrong direction for it. So I'm going to use this dragon one instead. I have a little pile of dragon fabrics over there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, this is totally in the way. I am going to flip that just like that. Now, it doesn't matter to me which side my dragon tail is on. If you want your dragon to look exactly like it does, you can flip this right over, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to cut loosely around this part. Obviously, if you don't have a cutting mat and a rotary cutter, you're going to have to just kind of eyeball this while you are cutting it with scissors, or draw out the rough cut that you want to do with your scissors after, okay? So you would just trace this outline onto your other fabric as well if you don't have a rotary cutter and a mat. However, they do have rotary cutters and very small mats at the Dollar Tree now. I know that because I bought one and it's not terrible. I don't think I bought the rotary cutter just because I have quite a few of them. As you can see right there, there's a few, and that's not all of them that I have, but that's like 4 more. Plus this one, plus a micro cutter, a micro one that's like an 18 millimeter Olfa that I really like also. So I have my share of rotary cutters, but they do sell them at the dollar store. Sorry. Okay, now I'm going to take whatever we're using for a core fabric. I'm going to use this nice absorbent and natural bamboo stretch fleece. These are different ones. Okay, sorry. I kind of have a pile. I'm just in the middle of like, I'm testing this pattern. I'm testing this pad pattern that I created. Okay, so it's not bad. I don't know if I want to offer it as a free one or if it needs a little bit more work. And that's a mushroom pad, which is cool. It's very, very cool. It comes out really nice, but it's just, it's like finicky to get it lined up. And I don't like not having a sew line. Like I have a sew line on this one, but on that pattern, I haven't figured out a way for there to not be a sew line, or for there to be a sew line, because you really want to have a cutting line for that particular one because of the way that it's shaped and how the two pieces have to meet up. It's a whole thing. I don't know. There's no reason for me to explain that right now. I'm sorry. Okay, babbling. Try not to babble. I'm going to cut out 2 of these out of this fabric, okay, out of this bamboo, so that I have a nice thick core on this pad, okay? So I'm just going to do, I am following this, but some parts of it are not perfect. It's okay if it's not exactly perfect, okay? Like it's a little bit longer down here. I'm not super worried about that if every cut isn't exactly perfect. All right, there's that. And then I'm just going to back this one because I've backed all the other dragon ones that I made. So I'm going to back it in flannel. So I'm going to come back again with this same sandwich of material that I already have been using in the video to show you guys, and I'm just going to lay it on there nice and straight, and I'm going to cut around it loosely again so that we have room to sew everything that we need to sew. Okay, then we're going to go on over to the sewing machine and stitch this guy up. Okay, so I'm going to pause. Okay, we are back over here at the machine. Now, first thing I'm going to do is move these mushroom pads because we're not working on them right now. Now, what you can do is you can pin this. We're going to leave those right there. You can go ahead and pin these guys right on there. By these guys, I mean the core pieces, just like this. If you're confident, you don't have to. If you've done this a few times and it's not your first rodeo, then that's awesome. For this video, I'm going to pin them. Okay, now another trick that I'm going to do, I'm going to set them up exactly the way I want them. See that? They're set up. I'm sorry. This is not perfectly in view. Okay, so for this, now, here are my 2 core pieces laying out on the pad itself, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over. This is going to be my sewing side because this is where all the markings are. So I'm going to start pinning here. I want to pin right on the front. Not on the underside where the core actually is, because I am going to show you a trick that's really cool actually. and you can get a really nice result without using a walking foot. Like a lot of the time, you would want to use a walking foot for something that is like this, okay? That has multiple layers or a layer that is stretchy or whatever it may be, okay? So I'm just going to pin that a few times around the edge and then a few right down the middle, okay? To keep it all in place. Now, what we're going to do, this is not an ideal thread. I really want to change my thread a little bit here to a different thread. Hang on just a second, guys. I'm just going to get a, yeah, this green is nice. I'm going to use this green thread. Okay. Now, I'm working on my Juki today. I have a basic stitch length over here of 2.4. That'll do for what we're doing right now. My serger's hooked up over here next to us. We're not going to worry about him. Okay, here we go. Now, for sewing, I have to have this in front of me though, and then it's going to be out of frame for you guys, so we got to kind of readjust things. Hey, sorry about that. Oh, hey, sorry about that. Okay. All right, now my thing is doing this weird thing. Okay, this tripod thing that I have. I'm sorry, you know what? I just am not, I gotta be real with you guys, I am not a videographer. Like, in case you didn't know and you thought, oh my gosh, she's the next Spielberg. I'm not. I just have to reveal it. I'm not a good director or a videographer. I cannot do this very well, okay? All right, but we're gonna try, okay? So here goes. All right, I'm gonna start. I like to start on kind of a top middle-ish part on one of the sides. I'm gonna start sewing down the core. For a core, I actually like to go up to about a 2.8 or a 3 or even a 3.2. I'm gonna backstitch to secure it. Now, with this, considering all of our pinning that we did, and the fact that the teeth underneath here, your feed dogs, are pulling those layers of fabric for you, you should not have much shifting around at all, and you're going to get a really nice outcome with your pad. And this is kind of called blind sewing, okay? But it's really not. You can see, even in the video, where that core is. The core is here. You can feel it. You can see it. If you're using white muslin, now if you're not, you may choose to do this where you are just going right over the top of the cores with your actual walking foot, and that's fine too, but do be aware if you have those stretchier fabrics that are typically core layers, okay? You might not have such a problem if it's like terry cloth or something, but for stretch bamboo fleece that I'm using today, I would have that problem. Now you have no puckering, there's no twisting of the fabric. It's a perfectly flat, beautiful pad. I'm going to put my pins away so I don't end up stabbing myself with them, because that's probably a likely thing. There's no reason to even trim that, honestly. Okay, but I'm going to do it for the video, for the sake of the video. Now, here we can see this pattern is actually really cool because I kind of cut mine wrong. You can repin this, is what you can do. I kind of cut mine wrong. I really want to have these on the outside. Of course, I can see it from the back side. That's fine too if you want to sew it that way, but we don't need to do that today. It's actually almost perfectly symmetrical, just the bottom. I kind of wanted him to have a little tail so that it's like a little dragon. So that's what we've got. I'm just going to pin it in a few places. And get it all set up just like this. Okay, now we're going to go back to our machine. I'm going to shorten the stitch length back to a 2.4. I'm going to start right here. And I'm going to go right along. You want to go pretty slow. Especially along little curves and things like this. You want to go pretty slow. Now, if you don't get it perfectly on the line, like I didn't right there with that wing, you can decide whether or not you are okay with that. I am okay with not having the wing be absolutely perfect. That's okay with me, okay? But if you want to go back and restitch that one little bit right there, you absolutely can. Sorry about that. Had to adjust my camera. Okay. We're going to just continue on. I go pretty slowly around these novelty pads. You just kind of want to make sure you're trying to follow that line as closely as possible. Okay. I'm going to pivot and go around here on the little head spike. I'm going to go one more. Pivot. Turn. Go around the ear. Sorry if you can't see because my hands are in the way. Just want to be mindful that all of your layers are staying put and not shifting. I think I want to go one more stitch for that ear. I'm going to go right around. I'm going to pivot and go around to this little head spike. Pivot. Might want to go one more time. Now turn. Turn again. Unpin as we go. I try to go slowly around these wings because I really want them to look symmetrical and like little dragon wings. Unpin that final one while I'm going around here. We'll go right down, turn and go right down the side. Unpin. Just for a moment, I do stop and adjust my pad and everything pretty frequently. As you can see, I stop, I lift my presser foot, I turn as I need to, I go back if I need to. Okay, there we go. Finished. Now that just took us 19 minutes and your pad is almost finished. Okay, what I'm going to do now, you can use either pinking shears that look like this. They're going to give you a nice pinked edge, obviously, a zigzag, in other words. Or you can use something like this, or you can use Regular scissors, I usually use a scissor like this for when I'm just trimming around this. Okay, so now what I want to do, I have about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch all the way around the pad. Okay, so I really need to trim this down before I can even think about turning it right side out. So I want to go right about 1/8 of an inch away from our stitch line. I tried to do this in a bright color so you could see my stitch line. So I have the bright green stitch line. And I wasn't perfect with my lines. See where the actual pattern line was and where I stitched? That's okay. I'm okay with that. Now you could go back and stitch on that actual stitching line. That is up to you. If that's your prerogative, please do so. I will not tell you how to live your life. But I am going to go ahead and just do this. Now, as you can see, this is a tip. This is an outward pointing tip. I am going to go straight across that. Pretty close, but not too close. You want to leave 3 to 4 threads of fabric between your cut and that stitch. Okay, so that it doesn't pop on you. You don't want your seams to pop as you are turning this right side out. So I'm going to go right about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch away from the edge, all around the whole thing. Okay, and on outward facing points like this, I am going to do a straight edge, just like that. Oh, outward facing point, I'm going to do a straight edge. Boop, just like that. Okay, and we're going to do that all the way around. When I come to the end of my stitching, as you can see, I back stitched. That was another important point that I forgot to mention. At the very beginning, when I first started stitching the outline on the sew line, I back stitch here and I back stitch here. So the beginning and the end. Now, if you wanted, I didn't make the marks because I know where they are because I made the pattern. But if you want, you can just take your Sharpie marker and go ahead and mark those marks on your fabric before you begin stitching, and that's fine too. Whatever works for you, okay? So here though, I am going to leave this tab out. Whoop, that was a little close. I hope that one doesn't pop. Yeah, it was pretty close. I'm going to leave this outward tab at that point where we're going to turn it right side out. Now, before we turn it right side out, I'm going to go in with my fine tip scissors. You can do them with this. You can do these little inward facing points and corners with a scissor like this, but I might accidentally clip my seam, and I'm just not as confident using a larger scissor like this for that part. So I'm just going to go in with my little fine tip scissors that I had got for rag quilting, I think, at one point. So all of my inward corners and curves also. So this is just a curve. This isn't actually a point, but it is a curve, and I'm just going to take and clip like 2 or 3 times right there. Okay, and the same with this. This is not a point, but it is a curve. But at the point, I want to do a couple of little clips here around the curve, it just allows the fabric to move to where it needs to when you're flipping this right side out, okay? So I'm just going to take these and do some little nips right in there. Oh, I didn't get all the layers. Make sure you're getting all of your layers. You want to get those back layers too. See, and it's not far. You don't want to go in. Remember to leave those few threads that we talked about so that you can actually turn this right side out without it ripping seams. It's not fun to go back and sew that again. I've done that countless times. So right here on the little points, I'm going to do it 1 or 2 times. Here, I almost didn't even really cut that, so I'm just going to notch that out and then give it a snip. Inward curves around the ears. Side spikes on the head. Let me know, guys, anybody watching this, let me know if you want to see a video with a hidden PUL layer, because I am very open to doing a video on that also. I just wanted to start with the hidden core layer version first and give a full walkthrough tutorial. If you're better with videos like I am, rather than the PDF that's included with any of my patterns. So this dragon one is my most recent one to be released, and I'm really loving how they're coming out. So now, once I'm flipping it right side out through our turn hole, I'm going to take a chopstick and I'm just going to go on through and poke out all of his little ears and his head spikes very gently. Go along the entire outside, get your wings poked out. For like the wings, I'll do this little rolling thing so that the tip goes all the way out to where I want it to. That works really well, I'm not gonna lie. I do that like on the daily. Okay, going to the other side of the head. I poke out our ears. And head spike 1, head spike 2, go down around, got our other wing, and then we're done. We're gonna top stitch it, add a snap, and we'll be finished, okay? Sorry, there's kids outside playing. They might be my kids, actually. I don't know. Okay. My husband's kind of watching them right now. Okay, guys. And so he's finished. I think he looks really good. So all I'm going to do now... That is really in the way. Okay, all I'm going to do now is just tuck in the turn hole. And I'm going to go ahead and top stitch all along this entire pad. And we'll be finished, guys. Okay, so I'm going to use probably about 1/8 of an inch width. Sorry, sneeze. My apologies. I am going to use probably 1/8 of an inch stitch width away from the edge, okay, to go all the way around. We're going to start that right now, okay? I back stitched at the beginning of my stitching. I just feel like this little tip could be out more. Okay. I did my little rolling thing. All right, we're coming back to the stitch line that we started at, and I'm just gonna back stitch and forward and reverse and cut my threads. I'm carefully gonna cut this, flip it, cut this one. Okay, and there's our pad. Now you're going to add snaps here and here, which I will do really quick. Hang on, let me get my snaps. Okay, I've got my snaps. I chose this green to go with my dragon. There we go. I have my snap pliers right here. This is from Cam Snaps. This is a very reliable, and I use it like all the time. Here's my awl. Okay. I am going to put these wings together. Okay. I'm going to just put the wings together like this, and I'm going to make my hole right where it shows in the pattern through both pieces, just like this. Whoops, I got a snap over here. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm super frustrated because I did clip a seam in this corner right here. I don't know if you can see that. I can see it. It definitely happened. So this is a seconds quality, which stinks, but it's not the end of the world. If I had caught it before I top stitched it, it would not be an issue. But since I already top stitch it, I mean, unless I'm going to go around and entirely take out the stitches, which I never do, I'm not doing that. Then it's just going to be there. Okay, so you just want to make sure you have your male and female parts. Okay, that's just what they're called. What are they? The stud and the socket. That's what they are. Okay, and then you're gonna snap them, and your pad's finished. So thank you guys so much for joining me in this pad making journey. Yeah, this will either be my pad or a seconds quality one for sale for just a few bucks. But he's really cool, and I love the way the dragon comes out. I did make a bunch of them, and am super excited about how the pattern finishes. So, what did I have? I had like 5 sizes, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, 10.5, I think. And I just did the 10.5s and the 8.5s and then the 6.5s, I believe. I think there are 5 different sizes. I could be wrong. I think there are 5. So yeah, I'm loving them though. They're so cute. They're so adorable. So you can use this method for any shape of cloth pad that you are making. You can use it for more basic ones like these. I released this pattern just last week. You can use them for slightly more intricate designed ones like the spirit, the forest spirit that I released. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust it a little bit. There we go. That's better. Okay. You could do it with these kinds. You can do it with any. This is the moon goddess. Right? Isn't she cool? She's so cool. I feel like she's really cool. Okay? I feel like they're really cool. I love how they came out. such a great shape for a cloth pad. Okay, and then I've got my Regal ones that I just did also. And so you could really use this method for any of these. I did use the method for all of them. All of them have the hidden inner layer, and they just look really clean and nice when you don't see that stitch line, because I'm just not quite that neat of a seamstress. Like I am, but I'm not. Know what I mean? So, yeah. I love how they came out. Thanks for coming on and sewing up some pads with me, or a pad, and making a pad. And if you want to see a hidden PUL core, not core, but a layer, hidden PUL layer, like you just want a natural backing and you don't want the PUL to be against your skin or whatever, right? Then maybe you want the hidden PUL, which is a great option, and I sew my pads like that pretty frequently. You can come back on and I will do a video on that. Please leave me a comment down in the comment section, because I just don't know. You know what I mean? But I'm loving how these ones came out. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great day. Bye.